What's going on, everybody? It's Will, your best friend on YouTube. We're back. It's the memory lapse. Playing this mid-range deck. It was pretty unfun for our last opponent who was playing blue-white control, because we just basically had like impossible things for them up and down the curve. Virtually every spell we have in our deck is like must counter or answer for them. Between like Siphoner, Champion of Wits, and like the long game implications of that, Nicol Bolas and the long game implications of that, Liliana, Scarab God. It's just like an actual nightmare for them. I think I'll lead with the slew. Sometimes I like to hold, but we're going to be drawing a lot. It's all good. So next turn we're probably looking at like Bloodfast and Fatal Push. Oh, no, it's some kind of mirror. So Bloodfast is going to be insane here. So this is the more red-heavy version of the deck, which I started off with. And it's actually what we lost to round one, but I think it's just the randomness of the matchup. It's like, but so we play a more black-heavy build. Without the energy stuff, and we play Fatal Pushes instead of Magma Sprays. Magma Sprays are almost certainly better in the mirror. Just taking out the Champion of Wits, I think, is huge, and it answers Champion of Wits, whereas Fatal Push really doesn't, unless you found a way to trigger the Revolt. Look at the templating on this. It's a little messed up. Why isn't it like justified onto the next line? I'm not sure. Alright, so let's just like draw two here, which feels nice. So our opponent in that first round did bring in Duresses, and I can see them actually being good. Maybe better than Essence Scatters. I think you just want removal and disruption for their removal. I guess you don't want to be sitting back and trying to cast Essence Scatter in this matchup. Though we're both on a very slow grind here. Maybe they'll just try to play Liliana in the dark, or Scarab God. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. So we'll Fatal Push that. End of turn. And draw some, don't mind if we do. I think it's important to draw, like, even if you're feeling a little nervous. Seems like the drawing is just so important in this deck, like, because especially in these later turns when you need to use all your mana. This will likely turn on some removal for them. Oh, that's okay. We want to be trading 1-for-1 right now while we have this Bloodfast in play. During those first two rounds, we were letting a bottle of Bourbon County warm up from 2016. I believe this was like the last vintage before they got bought. Was it the last vintage before they got bought by AB InBev, or the first vintage after they were bought? But uh, knowing the timelines of making a beer like this, probably the process for brewing it and developing it began before the merger was done. So this might have been like technically the last release before AB got their hands into it. But I really improperly stored this bottle for about a year above my oven. And room temperature is supposed to be okay, but the problem is the room temperature fluctuates like probably plus or minus 20 in this apartment, especially when we're cooking and shit. So it's a little bit like... It's a little bit more on the red fruit, kind of like... What did they take? Oh, Gearhulk, yeah, that's obvious. It's just like a little bit more on that red fruit side. Alright, let's just take one here, because we're going to get one off the Siphoner too. Operator. It's so laggy right now, I'm like double clicking because I'm not seeing the input go through. I should probably try restarting again after this game. I'd streamed today and we were crashing like crazy during the draft, just like so many bugs from this patch. Alright, so I like our position. We have a ton of removal and this Essence Scatter, and this commit they don't know about. We have taken ourselves down pretty low on life. Okay, so I think we're happy with that resolve. And Contempt it. And actually, considering they were stuck on 6, I think the game is going to go too long, so Essence Scattering, even if it meant they missed their land drop this turn, I think means it's just too likely they're going to get to 7 and flash it back. Jeez, okay. No, their Gearhulks are pretty good. That's the one downside of this build versus the build with like Supreme Will, is that the Gearhulks are nice. We want to keep this. Let's commit that. It's like not really a card I think they want to be drawing actively. I guess we'll take one here. That's a nice one. Play our own Champion of Wits. Get rid of some of this extra land. Uh, so the only thing preventing me from playing Nicol Bolas here is just I'm worried about. I want to have mana up for Vraska's Contempt in case they have like Liliana. Like it would be excellent to have Essence Scatter and Contempt up. Like I don't think we're in a big rush. All right, it's fine. So they drew another Harness Lightning, which is not very good for them right now. Although it is good against the Nicol Bolas. I don't know if they can actually... Exiling is part of the cost, so they can't bolt it in response. We're 2 lands shy of playing it and flipping it. So I think the play is to attack with the Champion of Wits here and see if they harness lightning it and then play the Nicol Bolas in the second main phase. Yeah, I can see that they don't want it to do that. Want to bolt it because we can just bring it back immediately. Alright. I'm actually worried, like, I don't want to fall into the trap of playing Nicol Bolas because we're... Well, no, I guess we're not that close to winning this. I just don't want to tap out and have them do something absurd to me. So this will probably eat the Harness Lightning, which is okay. Alright, so I think we're going to go for Nicol Bolas this turn. And they could have Essence Scatter. No, they don't. Shit. That's great for us. Oh, so this trigger does give them the option. I think we're just going to take their Scarab God here. So now they have to have 2 Vraska's Contempts. An 11 mana Rise from the Grave, but it works. Okay, so we won the first one. I don't know. I kind of like Essence Scatter just because I feel like Gearhulk can be so make or break. I think Never is important. I think Eldest Reborn is important. So let's get rid of Commit. Let's get rid of the cast downs. Bloodfast was insane. Eldest Reborn I think will be very good. Never I think will be good. And now it's the rest of the shit that I don't know. Like, I could see taking out 3 Fatal Pushes for 3 Duresses. Maybe this is the way to go. And not to play the Negate game. I don't mind 1 Fatal Push. Maybe we actually go with -1, +1. I'd really like to know like how the sideboard is built because I don't see the obvious unless it's only like 3 cards. I don't see the obvious changes. It's not as easy as boarding in for blue-white because we do need removal. All right. Let's just see how the Duress plan feels because in the first mirror we didn't get a good sense just because those games were also like one-sided either way. I can see like Duressing Vraska's Contempt being really good in this matchup. All right. His hand's a little weak to like Doomfall and stuff. This is a game I think where we're just going to leave with Dragonskull Summit and look to cycle the Canyon Slough later. So many lands already. I always do this. I should have played the Aether Hub. It likely won't matter because I feel like they're going to have removal for this, but if they do, we're going to feel silly. Yep. Silly we feel. Poke. Put the Summit into play. We'll cycle the Slough. The Nicol Bolas is here. Oh, they don't have the blue. Sick. Alright, so we cycle. Alright, so I think we're just going to put pressure on the board here. I don't know why I'm automatically... We know that they don't have blue. I guess they could make Essence Scatter here if they wanted to, but... Even if they have an answer to this, at least we're getting a card out of their hand, so it is an automatic 2-for-1. Torrential Gearhulk. Nice. They're cycling their Fetid Pools. They don't have blue to duress us. It's fine. Then they have to take Liliana, which lets us get Bloodfast down next turn. Do they have Electric Lightning for the Siphoner here? Yikes. That's so good for us. So we can get our Bloodfast in. Swing for 6. And we have Essence Scatter. So they can't really add to the board here. I'm not sure I care enough to Essence Scatter that. That's really slow. And they need to spend their mana answering my board. It doesn't block the Siphoner because of Menace. But we'll take a card off of Bloodfast here. Thank you very much. Draw for turn. Gonna get to flip Nicol Bolas next turn if we draw land, but I can't imagine that we won't, with like up to 3 activations of Arguels coming in. This is Vraska's Contempt during my attack step. That's fine. We'll Bolas, and get the last card out of their hand. Yep. That's totally cool. Probably they just scoop to this. Yep, there goes their Gearhulk. This card is nuts. I don't like the animation. I don't see why we have it. Alright. So, hard to say if the Duress is right, because we didn't really use it. They Duressed us and they still lost. But our hand was absolutely nuts. Or I should say it developed well. And they got stuck on colors, so 2 wins. Where's the break-even point? 3? Or no, 2 wins to the break-even point. It's only 1,000 gold to enter. So we already broke even, and we get our guaranteed rare, but obviously we want to get to like 2,100. So, yeah, that's it for this one. And we'll be back with the next round.